Welcome to the Ask Donna Advocacy in Action podcast, hosted by Donna J. Jodhan, a world-renowned advocate, author, blogger, sight loss coach, dinner mystery writer, and producer, entrepreneur, law graduate, and podcast commentator. Drawing on her vast experience, Donna is here to guide you through the world of advocacy, showing you how to be an effective and powerful advocate in your everyday life. In this podcast, you'll learn what advocacy truly means, how it's used, why it's essential, who uses it, and when to apply it, whether for simple tasks or major challenges. Advocacy is not for the faint of heart, but is something that everyone can practice. Success comes through persistence, patience, and unwavering commitment. Tune in and discover how to make advocacy part of your daily life.
Well, hello there. I'm Donna Jodhan, your host for the monthly podcast of Ask Donna Advocacy in Action. And we're up to the month of May. Yes, the merry month of May. And I'd like to welcome all of my listeners and all of my readers to this month's podcast of Ask Donna Advocacy in Action. I'd like to thank everyone for continuing to tune in to listen to me, to read my show notes, and to provide me with your thoughts, your suggestions, your feedback, your comments, your everything, because it is only through you and with you that I can continue to produce my podcasts. So, welcome to the month of May. And welcome to my podcast one more time. And hello to my brother in Montreal, Michael. Michael, I hope you're doing well. And hello to Heather, your wonderful wife. Let me start this month's podcast with my usual announcements. Letting you know that you can go to www.etsy.com/shop/blindlybrilliant. There you will see all of my pottery pieces on show. I'm not just selling them for selling's sake. I'm selling them in order to sustain my other initiatives. The one main initiative right now is called Transitioning to a New World. And it's all about giving persons ready or students ready to leave high school and young adults the tools that they would need to build their confidence and independence and to increase their personal and professional profiles through advocacy and entrepreneurship. Read more about my Transitioning to a New World program by going to www.donnajodhan.com. Yes. So, those are my announcements for my Etsy announcements and my telling you that you can go to www.etsy.com/shop/blindlybrilliant, or you can go to www.accesspark.shop, and there you will also be able to buy my pottery pieces. I'm now introducing my pet rocks. Several years ago, the pet rocks were quite popular as people use them to help them deal with stress and trauma, distress and drama. And you can do the same by purchasing one of my pet rocks or more than one of my pet rocks. I'll custom make them for you as well. Okay? And keep your emails coming to me at donnajodhan@gmail.com or askdonnaonblindlife@gmail.com. Alright, so we've taken care of business before we start off our podcast for this month. Alright? And I can't I'm always so pleased and so delightful to share with you my views on advocacy. Here is a quote that I made up for myself here. Advocacy has no color, no shape, no size. Advocacy has no limit, no guarantee, and no expectation. Advocacy could only be successful through hard work and sustained persistence. That is my view of advocacy. I want to give you an inspirational message for the month of May. As we step into the month of May, let this be a time of renewal and growth. Embrace the energy, the fresh energy that comes with the blooming flowers and longer days. May reminds us that with perseverance, we can transform our dreams into reality. Okay? With perseverance and patience, we can do just that. Take each moment as an opportunity to learn, to evolve, and to shine brighter than before. Remember, the journey may not always be easy, but the beauty lies in the path of the progress that you make. Okay? Just remember that. The beauty of the path lies in the progress that you make. This is the month where let it be filled with purpose, positivity, and the willingness to move forward. That is my inspirational message for you for this month. All right. All about advocacy in action. Okay? What really is advocacy? A lot of people shy away from advocacy because they think that advocacy is very hard to do, and they also feel that advocacy could get them into trouble, and they feel that, advocacy is not going to get them anywhere. But I have news for you, big news for you. What is advocacy? Advocacy is an opportunity for you to enhance and improve both your personal and professional profiles. Okay? And how do you do this? You speak up and you speak out. Okay? Speak up and speak out. You engage with others. So you speak up, let your voice be heard, you speak out, let your thoughts be reflected and echoed. You engage with others, you communicate with others, and you reach out. So you engage, you communicate, and you reach out. What all of this is doing is helping you to come out of your shell, helping you to socialize, helping you to find like-minded people who are willing to walk the walk with you. Not just talk the talk, but walk the walk. Okay? Not just walk the talk either. Walk the walk. Okay? And who gets involved in advocacy? Advocacy is not just for one particular type of person. It could be from anyone, from the youngest to the oldest. Anyone. Any age. Anyone and any age. From a kid who's, is advocating to his or her parents for things that they would like to do, for things that they want to get involved with. That's our kid. The high school student who wants to advocate for less bullying in the classroom and less bullying on the playground and less bullying amongst friends and family and others. A college or university student who wants to see improvements to services on campus, to online accessibility and usability. To the professional who would like to see improvements in the workplace, better environmental surroundings, for an example, better equipment, hardware and software as an example. That's our professional advocating. How about the unemployed person? The unemployed person who wants to become employed again and who is going to advocate for more ways and opportunities to be opened up so that they can become employed once more. How about the mom who's advocating not just for herself, but for her kids? It could be anything from being able to shop better at the supermarket, for being able to find ways to keep her kids, in school, who wants to find ways to work with her kids to have better sporting facilities. Okay? And the dad too. The dad who is working with the mom and his kids to advocate. That's dad. The single parent who wants better opportunities for both them and their children. That is advocating on the part of the single parent. The semi-retiree who is getting ready to retire, but is advocating for ways or to find ways to become happier and more productive in their retirement years. Maybe advocating for better library services or advocating for ways, to do more things when they retire. And of course the retiree who is doing the same thing, but now that they are retired, their purpose for advocating is probably going to be more powerful. And the senior who wants better services for themselves, both at home and in a living environment, in a home. Okay, both at home and in a long-term care environment, and advocating their family members to help them do this. And of course, a person with a disability, always advocating for their rights to be recognized, for their rights to be protected, for their rights to be, protected, recognized, and for their rights to, equality. We're living in a world these days where the DEI topic comes up all of the time. DEI, and add accessibility to it at the end. Persons with disabilities are ones who, along with their friends and family, are going to advocate more to keep these rights, to keep their rights. Okay? Why is advocacy necessary? Advocacy is necessary to raise important issues. It doesn't matter how important it is, as long as it is important to the one raising the issues. Okay? All right. To raise awareness that certain things need to be improved, certain things need to be changed, certain things need to be brought into focus. To train others around us, to train ourselves, okay? To campaign. And how do we do this? We do it with others. We do it online and we do it offline. To petition, similar to campaigning, okay? Or to change an existing situation, okay? Change is always necessary. Change is needed in order to keep up with today's world. So, why is advocacy necessary? Because we want change. Or to create something new. Not just changing it, but making it new. Okay? And how do you get involved in advocacy? You could do it on your own to start with. It may not be that easy. But it is definitely doable. I can tell you that. I started my advocacy all on my own. But I soon realized that I needed help and like-minded people around me to help advocate for what was necessary in my point of view. So we advocate with others, we advocate with groups, so we could advocate with individuals, we can advocate with groups, we advocate with agencies, either alongside them or on behalf of them. Agencies for and of persons with disabilities. We could do it on social media, FaceTime, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and a bunch of other ways of doing it. Okay? Reach out there. Through podcasts, by expressing our views, by interviewing others and have others interview us. Okay? Through blogs, articles, and editorials. The power of writing is very, very powerful. Of course, the spoken word is also powerful. So you can do it through podcasts or through blogs, articles, and editorials. Or even press releases. You could go one step up above and have press releases. These days, press releases are very, very easy to get done. There's several channels that you can do or go through to get your press releases published and posted. Through interviews, being interviewed by others, like I said, being interviewed by, newspapers, by TV stations, by anyone you could think of. Catch their attention, go for it. Through round tables. Yeah. You can conduct roundtables of like-minded stakeholders where you bring them together, where you could be the facilitator or you can be part of a round table. And through conferences. You go to conferences, you make presentations, you meet others, you express your views, you share your views, you listen to other people's views. And through town halls, online town halls, or face-to-face town halls. Again, you are engaging and communicating with others. Okay? When do you get involved in advocacy? Well, when it affects you directly, when it affects others that you care about, when you have a concern or a passion or a dream or an interest. These are the times when you get involved with advocacy. And keep in mind that advocacy is meant to help improve your personal and your professional profiles all at the same time. You can really, really go a long way by using advocacy to help you improve your personal and professional profiles. Okay. Now we come to another important stage of advocacy: picking your battle. You got to sit down and think, which battle do you think could be most achievable to you? You got to take the time to really do your research to understand what the battle is all about. Why are you fighting this battle? Which one most excites or interests you? Which one at the end of the day will bring you satisfaction? Which one will make you most happy? And you got to think, try and figure out the length of time it is going to take you to be victorious in your battle or successful in your battle. And I will tell you point blank that it has taken me quite a few years to get things done. When I took the Canadian government to court over their inaccessible website, it took me 6 years. A lot of people said, well, that wasn't very long. But it was long in my point of view. Or when we started the campaign for an accessible Canada Act, we started in 2015. I led the team. We got it done in 2019. So you really got to sit down and think of how long, in your estimation, do you think it would take? You're not always on the money, but do your best. And it's all based on the amount of resources that you have at your disposal. Your financial resources, your sustainable resources, your human resources, your personal resources, all kinds of resources that you're going to have to think about when picking your battle. Okay? Planning your strategy is very, very important. You got to do your research. Who do you contact? And your research will tell you this. A thorough research, an in-depth research, a deep dive research will reveal to you who do you need to contact before you start your advocacy or at the beginning of your advocacy. What method are you going to use? Are you going to do it on your own? Are you going to do it with others? Are you going to do it through social media? Are you going to do it face to face? What message do you wish to convey? Very, very important, because you got to make sure that you catch the attention of the listener and reader very, very quickly. Don't dither. Get straight to the point and get your message out there. Follow up. You've got to follow up. You just can't send out a message and say, oh, well, they've read it. They'll get back to me. That's not going to happen, especially at this time, especially in these times. You've got to follow up persistently and consistently. Okay? Now I'm going to play a little word game with you. I'm going to give you words that most serious advocates often come up against when they are considering their plan of action. Hope versus expect. What do you hope for? What do you expect? In my point of view, I think hope is a little more, it's a little less demanding. Expect is when I expect something to happen. Hope is when I'm hoping. I don't know how else to put it, but hope is milder than expect. Okay? So you could think about it. What are you hoping for? What are you expecting? Expecting is more, I expect this to happen. Hope is, I hope it happens, but you're not too sure. Expect is when you're more sure of yourself that something will happen. How about these two words, possible versus impossible? And I'll tell you point blank that these two words play a great part in whether or not you are going to engage in any sort of useful or valuable advocacy. If you think that something is possible, that is a great beginning. You've already won the first round in your attempt. If you think it's impossible, then give up and just go away. Possible versus impossible. There is a song that says, to dream the impossible dream. I think that's me. I always dream the impossible dream. Or, as Robert F. Kennedy Sr. used to quote, some men see things as they are and say why. I dream things that were not and say why not. Or I dream things that never were and say why not. So again, some men see things as they are and say why. I dream things that never were and say why not. Okay? So there you go. Possible or impossible. If you think something is possible, you've won the first round of advocacy. If you think it's impossible, I'm afraid that you have just lost the first round of advocacy. Okay? All right. I have 3 stories to share with you for this month that I have chosen out of my own database and out of databases from my friends and associates. Okay? Here is the first story. Advocating for check-in services at an airport. So let me tell the story. There are presently no check-in services at this particular terminal. That is, check-in services that are accessible and usable to persons with disabilities. It is very spotty and inconsistent, and if there is no one around to help you, you're in big, big trouble. Agents do not seem to be well trained or very well trained as to how to help someone who needs assistance to check in. Okay? The check-in kiosks are totally inaccessible and unusable. And most of the time there are no agents around to render assistance. So, what is the advocacy thought here? Remain dependent or fight for independence? If you remain dependent, it means you're always going to need sighted assistance to help you. That's how you would remain dependent. If you want to become independent, you've got to fight for better ways to have accessible and usable kiosks at the airport, along with agents who are well trained and who are aware as to how to assist persons with disabilities. Okay? So, what is advocacy here? Advocacy here is when you want to fight for your independence with regard to the use of kiosks to make them more usable and accessible. And who gets involved in advocacy? Well, first of all, it is the person traveling. Then it should be friends and family of persons who are traveling. Then it should be agencies for and of persons with disabilities. That's who gets involved in advocacy in this instance. Why is advocacy necessary? Because we want more independence for ourselves. And how to do this? You got to work very hard. You got to engage and communicate with others, individuals, like-minded travelers, and agencies, and then the persons who are managers at the airport. And when do you do this? Well, you do it as soon as you can no longer stand being dependent on others. All right? Here is my second story. All right? Assistance at an electronics store. Let me tell you the story. A friend almost always has to help when navigating this particular store. They have to describe the things that are on the shelves, and customer reps do not talk to the person, but they talk to their friends or their escorts. They never talk directly to the person themselves. Okay? And the friend or family member accompanying the person has to show the person where to sign. The agent hands the package to the friend, not the person purchasing the package. This is a very common situation in any store for that matter, but we're focusing here on an electronics store. Okay? Advocacy here is when the person affected decides that they are going to go into that store and they are going to talk to management and staff about being more communicative and engaging more directly with the person and not the ones escorting them. Okay? And who gets involved? Like I said, it's the person being directly affected along with their friends and family. And you know, you can even have agents in the store getting involved in this particular cause. Why is it necessary? Again, because independence is important. Less dependence, more independence. Now, how do you do this? You have to start by building awareness, step by step by step. It really doesn't do much good to go into the store and start yelling and screaming at agents. You go into the store with a very cool head with a plan as to how you are going to approach these agents in a nice way, okay? To let them know that it benefits everybody when I, as a person with a vision impairment, can have my independence so that they can talk directly to me, so that I can make the decision on my own without the agents asking the person escorting me, and then the person has to ask me. So that's how you do that. That's why it's necessary. And how do you get involved? Like I said, get others involved. You can't do it on your own. Most times you can't. You've got to get the staff at the store involved. You've got to get management at the store involved. And sometimes you've got to go a bit higher to the company's head office to get it done. And when do you get involved? When you feel that you need to interact or engage directly with staff rather than having your friends or family members do it for you. Okay? Story 3, the last one for this month. Okay? All right. Advocating for a vision impaired student at a music school. I know all about this because I had a chat with a parent one time who wanted their vision impaired student to attend a well-known school in Toronto. And the school kept giving, the mother all kinds of reasons as to why her son could not attend their high-profile school. Reasons were things such as, well, we don't have the facilities, we don't have the staff, it's going to cost too much. At first the mom was, overwhelmed, very overwhelmed. And, the parents, both mom and now dad, decided to step in to plead their case with the music school. And the school kept saying they're not prepared or they're not equipped. They were not set up to, accommodate their son who was visually impaired. And they said that it was going to cost too much. And they also said that they could not afford to hire tutors or make changes to equipment to accommodate the son. Now the parents are in a quandary as to what could be or would be the next step. So I'm going to put this question to my listeners. Let's go. What is advocacy? Advocacy is parents advocating for their son to attend a music school. Who gets involved? The parents, the son, and they have to encourage and motivate others to get involved in solving this problem. Why is it necessary? Because the parents want their boy to attend music school like any other child. And how do you do this? Again, you got to start from the bottom this time. You got to start, yes, at the school. And you may have a lot of bumps with staff members and teachers and administrators saying, we can't do it. It's too costly. We're not set up. Do not take no for an answer. Okay? This is when you get involved in advocacy. Go as high as you can. You may not succeed, but think of this. Anything is possible. And it's the way you say it and how you say it and the message that you are going out there to share with others and to encourage others through your message. Okay. I'm going to end my podcast for this month with some monthly tips for you from my a bit of this and a bit of that from Donna's Did You Know diary. Okay, a bit of this and a bit of that from Donna's Did You Know diary. And if you want to know more, contact me at donnajodhan@gmail.com and I will be happy to send you these monthly tips along with my monthly show notes. These tips are practical and natural. Okay? Number 1. Let's go. All right. Let's think of the sap, the vine, and the branch process. The sap nourishes the vine. The branch comes out of the vine. And fruit is produced from the branch. Okay? Number 2. Some vital tips on putting out fires in your kitchen. Okay. If the fire is on your stovetop, just place a cover on your pot, and that will do the trick. The fire will put itself out. Similarly, if you have a fire in your oven or your microwave, okay, keep the doors shut to your microwave or your oven, and the fire will eventually put itself out. You may be hard pressed to stand and wait, but it is the best way. Okay? Number 3, an important tip about the function of your kidneys. Well, your kidneys act as filters, as they filter unwanted matter from your blood. Then they transport the clean blood to your heart. So first they filter unwanted matter from your blood, and then they transfer the clean blood to your heart. Number 4. I call it a perfect tip for the month of May. Go walking for 30 to 60 minutes a day. Yeah. 5 days a week. So 30 to 60 minutes a day for 5 days a week. It has many healthy benefits, such as reducing the chances of contracting cancer, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, anxiety, and even depression. Yes, indeed, walking for 30 to 60 minutes per day for 5 days can have benefits of reducing the chances of cancer, heart diseases, type 2 diabetes, anxiety, and depression. It increases bone health and does so much more. Okay? Number 5. An important piece of information for you when thinking of booking a holiday to Cuba. The best time to book a trip is for the beginning of the month when going to Cuba. And why is this? It is when the food is most plentiful. When the food is most plentiful at hotels and food resorts. So just remember, you're thinking of booking a vacation to Cuba, book it for the beginning of the month, because this is when the food is most plentiful at hotels and resorts. Because Cuba has to import most of its food from the rest of the world, and shipments usually arrive at the beginning of the month. But by mid-month, the supplies begin to disappear very quickly. Just keep all of this in mind. Number 6. What is one of the most transmissible diseases? You know what? It's measles. Yeah. And right now, many countries are fighting outbreaks of measles. But you can be vaccinated against measles. Okay? Number 7. Here's a tip when taking melatonin. The best time to take your melatonin pill is about 45 minutes to an hour before you retire to bed. Okay? It works best that way. Number 8. Here's a useful tip on managing your finances. And I guess you get a lot of these tips, but here's my tip for May. It is called the 2050-2010 allocation. 20% of your annual income to put into your savings. 50% of your annual income to be used for essentials. 20% of your annual income to be used for paying off debts. And 10% of your annual income to be used on fun things. Keep this in mind, and if you forget what I've just said, write to me at donnajodhan@gmail.com and I'll be happy to send you my tips for the month of May. But I'm not quite yet finished. Number 9. Here are 2 simple stain removers for if food falls on your clothes. Gently rub some hand sanitizer on the offending stain. Okay? Gently rub some hand sanitizer on the offending stain. Or you can also use dish soap. Works like a charm. Number 10. And final tip for this month. Here is a tip when cooking ribs. Place your ribs in a pan with the bone facing down. In this way, your meat will not dry up. Okay. Time for me to get going. Time for you to get about your own business, and I want to thank you for having joined me for today. I wish you a good rest of the day, good rest of the week, good rest of the month. Thank you for coming in again. Thank you for all of your emails. Keep them coming to me at donnajodhan @donnajodhan@gmail.com. You guys stay safe, stay well, and I will see you next month. Bye for now.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Ask Donna, Advocacy in Action. Donna truly appreciates your time and support. Remember, your thoughts, comments, and feedback are always welcome. Just send them over to donnajodhan@gmail.com. Remember, together we can keep making a difference. Until next time, stay safe, stay strong, and keep advocating.